Hello and welcome to another lesson about Bluefort's license and subscription app, which is embedded in Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and supply chain, otherwise known as finance and operations. In this lesson, we shall discuss customer meterage. You can consider this lesson as a continuation of a previous lesson about consumption subscriptions. In that lesson we covered the basic scenario of consumption billing. In this case we'll use a more advanced scenario, which is customer meterage, as a basis for calculating the consumption action invoicing. So let's jump right into the application. As usual, this is our finance and operations client. We shall browse to subscription management, customer meters. We shall filter on our usual customer. In this case it's Contoso consumer, and as you can see here, I already prepared some configuration for the lesson to save some time. I've created a meter for this customer based on a specific model, and I've gave the meter number description, and you can also enter a serial number if applicable. There's the meter address, which is automatically inherited from the customer account, but of course you could override it here or add more addresses. And I've also input some consumption readings, so 2 readings for September. As you can see here, both are for electricity, and then this customer has a reading of for the domestic day rate, which is that of 100, and the variant number 12 is the domestic night rate, and for that he spent 30 units in this month. So the quantity to bill is a calculation, which is the current reading minus the previous reading, the calculated consumption, and then the user can decide to also adjust the consumption, which is equal to the quantity to bill. That's the unit, and there you can see the different sales prices from our variant. So the 30 cents is the day tariff and the 10 cents is the night tariff, and there you can see the calculated gross amount which will be billed as part of the consumption subscription. A small note here, maybe a bit technical but quite important, is that in this case I've created these records manually, so I left the registration source to the default value of manual, but you in real life you will input these records from other systems, like via web services, maybe IoT device sensors which are embedded directly into the smart meter, maybe via data import from data management module of Dynamics 365, or any other mechanism. We as Bluefort, as part of the app, we also publish a custom service, web service out of the box, which you can use to input data, to post data to this web service into this table. So that is from the customer meter side of things. Now we'll jump into the subscription management cockpit, Contoso consumer, and we will go ahead and create our subscription plan. We'll click use utilities. We'll use a consumption subscription because meterage is only linked and used in consumption subscriptions. We put in some values in other fields and click OK. And then we shall create our item. We can go ahead and create a line, but in this case, as you can see, there is no item number which is linked to this subscription type and this program type. So we can go ahead and create one. Let me duplicate the tab. I will now browse to product information management, released products, new, I'll set it as a subscription service product, so utility meterage for example. So let's give it util1 utility meterage. We can just go through these very quickly, they're not very applicable to this lesson. This is per month subscription, and the purchase price in this case and the sales price are not applicable. We put in a value of 1. Let's set up some default fields. We can now go ahead and validate the product. Now we'll go to the product in the master data. We will set it as a subscription product. We will select utilities and consumption subscriptions, and we can save that off. And then we can jump back to our subscription plan line, and there is our subscription. Estimated consumption is not applicable in this case. What is very important here is that we have to link the plan line to the meter number we just created. So we'll do that here. We'll select the 1st of September, so the meter is now linked. And if we go back to our customer meter and refresh this screen, you will see that now this meter is linked to this subscription plan. If the subscription plan field is empty, it means that this meter is not currently linked to any subscription plan in the system. What we can do now is actually publish this plan, and we'll need to check our testing date and our parameters. So let's go to subscription management parameters. Our testing date is the 30th of September, so don't forget this is a consumption subscription. So once I run master process here, no action is created, which is fine because we're in the first cycle, we're in the first month of the subscription. Consumption can only be calculated, backdated, and billed in arrears. So it is correct that no action messages has been generated by the master process. Now we'll go ahead and go forward to the next month. Any day in the next month will suffice, and we will run the master process. Please keep in mind that this is only for testing. This test date, I repeat it in every lesson, do not use this test date in a production environment, please. It is not supported and you could damage your data. So back to our lesson, back from our disclaimers and into the master process again. And then here we see that our action has been created. It's a sales order invoice action, and contrary to the what happened in the first lesson about consumption subscriptions, the isEstimate flag is not ticked, and is not ticked by default, and this is the reason because of this is because we created a consumption which is of type actual. If we create a consumption record which is of type estimate, here not actual, then what would happen is that this is estimate flag will be ticked, and you won't be allowed to firm the action unless you untick it and verify the amount on the lines. This has been shown already in the first lesson related to consumption subscriptions. If I click that button there, it shows me what transactions it picked up for this billing cycle. As you can see here, we have two electricity entries. One is for the day rate and one is for the night rate. Those are the variant numbers. And from now onwards, the normal process that we've seen in other lessons will continue. So here is bin, now I have 33, and that's the total of those two. And if we refresh, we can see now that they've been billed, which means that an action has been created of that consumption, and which picked up these two transactions. So once they're linked here, then they're also marked as billed. Now we have a firmed action, and you can go ahead and post the invoice linked to these actions and to these customer meter consumption transactions, as you saw in previous lessons. So this is the end of this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. To recap and summarize, we have two ways to bill consumption subscriptions, either by using an estimate which is embedded directly in the subscription plan line, or by using consumption transactions which are linked to customer meters. And in order to do that, you must first link the customer meter to the subscription plan line, as I showed you earlier in this lesson. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you very much. Keep tuned for more lessons. Thank you very much.